So I spent around 5.5 years working in the tech industry as a software engineer, and I accrued what many people in my generation call it a quarter life crisis. I had that burnout, and I just know that life was just more than just me sitting at a desk being a programmer. And I knew that I had to do something with it, and I felt so unfulfilled in my life. So I kind of went against the grain, and I decided to do something that was completely different to me, which was travel. And travel has become such a big part of my life. How I ended up in Vietnam was I traveled all throughout the world after I quit my job. And I ended up in Vietnam, where I became an English teacher. And I taught in a very rural part of Vietnam where there were very impoverished people. The infrastructure wasn't there. I myself didn't really get to visit Vietnam before, other than when I was essentially a very young age. So when I went there, I essentially found my roots. And I learned that this was a piece of home and a piece of myself that was missing. When I was there, I was able to teach English and be welcomed by so many people who I've always known of, but never really got to be a part of, which was, the people of Vietnam. And it really made me feel whole. It gave me a new perspective in life. Traveling has been a huge part of my life, and to fill in a little more of a backstory, as I was going through, I guess you may call it the crisis of my life, I wanted to turn to something and anything. And when I went into traveling, it really opened my eyes on, essentially the world and how the world can really change me as a person. And as I went on all my trips, I went to over 25 countries, 80 cities in over 2 years. And I've learned that there's so many good people out there, and so many people who have nothing yet are still moving forward and are happy. As I traveled and I went on the trip to teach English, and as well I did a lot of volunteering and philanthropic work in South America, I just learned that this became a part of my DNA. And as I was lost traveling the world, I felt like I essentially found myself. Even though, as cliche as it sounds, I did feel that this was kind of my purpose, was to be able to go experience life and to learn more about life and to give back to those who essentially don't have or need the resources. When I came back from traveling, I just knew that I needed to do something that fits within the realm of who I became. And that's why I wanted to eventually become an entrepreneur and create some kind of startup to help people who are going through very tough situations like I was, and kind of guide them or point them in a direction with resources that I came along the way.